Good morning, Jillian.
Good morning, Danae.
Oh, for all of you who are listening on the podcast, welcome. I have one of the sweetest, most wonderful women on the planet that I get to talk to today. If you want to put a face with this name, go over to YouTube. I'll put a link in the podcast show notes. But I'm honored and happy to have as my guest today, Jillian Henson Gilliam. And I have known her since we met in an Enneagram class, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But her last name is spelled Gilliam, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I've called you Jillian Gilliam forever. So it's Gilliam. And Jillian, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Jillian, and I am so excited to be here today with you, Danae. I am just such a fan of the Enneagram, and I'm just so excited about what you are doing with your podcast and your guests, and it's just amazing. Let
me just say where we met, and I'll just say off the bat, her mom is one of the foremost teachers, Enneagram teachers in Atlanta, Georgia, Nan Henson. And if anybody is local and listening, everybody's like, oh, Nan, and this is Nan's daughter. And it's just so great. But I wanted to first, I usually ask people, how did you learn about the Enneagram?
Right.
So I think I know, but can you share that?
I would love to. How I learned about the Enneagram is through my mom, Nan. I am lucky enough to be her daughter, and even before she discovered the Enneagram, she's just the best mom ever.
Oh, she's the best.
I also get to run our business Enneagram Atlanta with her, and I'm so lucky because we get to bring Enneagram workshops to the world. So we run the authorized workshops for the Enneagram Institute. My mom is an authorized instructor for the Enneagram Institute and an Enneagram coach. And I am also a certified Enneagram professional, just like you, Danae.
Yay!
Program, and that one's with Enneagram Georgia and with Linda Roberts, who's also part of the whole Enneagram community and quite an amazing teacher as well. My mom's other business partner. So yeah, I learned about the Enneagram through my mom. It was actually a time in my life. Let me think how old I was. I was about 30, I don't know, some age, and in my late 30s. And I was just pretty lost. I wanted to be a mom so bad. And it's all I was wanting, all I was praying for, all I was working for in my life. Everything was centered around it. We'd gone through a lot of infertility and loss and miscarriage and those sad stories that are part of so many people's lives.
Right.
And that was very much a part of mine. We had been actually moving to the next stage in our journey to become parents, and we went through adoption. And so we had been through a couple of losses with adoption where just birth parents decided to parent instead of place. And so just deep loss and grief was happening in my time. I almost feel like I was being like just kind of taken down to that place where you get to at the end of a workshop where you're just kind of emotionally raw and so open.
Yes.
Just forced to be open. And my mom came back and said to me one day, she said, listen, I want to send you to part 1 of the Enneagram Institute's training. And I want you to take this because I think I had already found value in it. But that was very much important in my Enneagram journey. And when I went to that training, it was actually here at Simpsonwood in Georgia.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, they used to offer it here. And Linda Roberts was actually one of my teachers. And at the time, and when I was there, I call it my awakening, as many people have when they learn about the Enneagram deeply.
Oh, yes.
And it was truly when I woke up to more than what my dream was for my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was more there than this thing that I was grabbing onto so tightly, motherhood. And I listened to the Enneagram information and I digested it and it washed over me. And it was just like, oh my goodness, what is happening here? And I just broke wide open. At that time, I also woke up energetically, and that was how Reiki was born. I found Reiki that way as well shortly after that. And so this was in January. February, I was working with Reiki, learning the Enneagram in immersion, and then in about May, we got a match with a family, and our child, well, I guess we got a match in April, but our child, Wesley, our son, who's now 6 years old, was born May 8th of 2014. So from January to May, I had some of the most broken open, vulnerable experiences. And yet, if I had not had those, I just wouldn't even be in the place I was today. I'm so grateful for the grief and the hurt and the breaking down of my ego. I'm grateful for it.
Listen, I so many times say the problem becomes the solution.
Yes.
And also what we put out into the universe of, I want this thing, or I have this idea, or whatever. And because we are so egocentric before the breaking open, a lot of times, we decide what it's going to look like. So I want to be a mother, and here's what it looks like.
100%.
And I see you share your stories of Wesley, and I know your heart, that is you are his mother. I mean, adoption is a beautiful path. And I hear you say, I wouldn't trade it.
No.
We only can look back and see those moments. And when we reflect and go, oh, if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't know the joy, the love, the gift that I do now. And I'm so grateful for your story and your journey. I'm so sorry for the pain and the suffering. But what you chose to do was not become immersed in that for life, but you opened your heart and said, how can I grow? How can I grow in this time of life? And because we haven't said it yet, your type is such a heart-centered type, and you are a
Ennea Type 2.
Type 2. Everything. Yes, everything is. The heart just, it lives outside your body.
I can't tamp it down. It's just there for everyone.
I have to tell a story about when I met you. Again, we were going through certification. Well, actually, I think I just went through a workshop. When I first met you, it was just the wisdom of the Enneagram. And you were in there doing the technical stuff. And I think you had a bracelet on, or the girl was Kristen. I'm not sure who had it on.
I think we both had them on.
Well, it said joy. And I was like, oh, I want one of those. Yeah, you both had them on. And I was like, where did you get those? I had no idea where you got them. And it was like, I want one of those. Where can I get one? And it's so pretty. It's a beautiful leather band, and it's got these little bluebirds on the side with the word joy. And immediately you said, I have one for you, I think is how I remember it. And I was like, great. And so you brought it to me the next morning, I do believe. And I said, I was so excited. How much, how can I pay you? And you said, no, it's my gift. Well, I felt like, no. That's not where I was going with this. I wanted to buy one too. And you were just so insistent and almost like, please let this be my gift to you.
Yeah.
And I remember years ago, I think before my mom or I even knew about the Enneagram, and I've known about it for 10 years, she said, don't deny someone a blessing of giving you a gift. And so that's kind of stayed with me. Well, in that, and I had already been on the Enneagram journey for a while, but being reinforced, hearing you speak as a 2, it was like, oh, I have to let her do this. 2s are the best gift givers. So good. And I cherish it. I accepted it reluctantly because I wanted to pay for it. But really, I realized this is from your heart. Oh, and excuse me, but I forgot the biggest point. You made it.
I did.
You made it. So, oh,
I'm wearing mine today just for you.
you know, I started to put it on and I thought, this is a podcast. I love it. Show it again.
Okay.
Okay. See, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
And I think of her, I think of you, and the gift, not just the bracelet. It's that experience and the gift from your heart.
Oh.
And I cherish it. Thank you so much.
Danae, that was so sweet of you. Thank you. Yeah, it's true though about the 2. You can't, my mom always says in workshops, you can't outgift a 2.
Oh no.
That gift was genuine. It was very genuine. And you had touched me deeply as well in our workshop from sharing from your genuine authenticity. And you affected me as well. So you gave me a gift.
Oh, thank you. That means so much. It really does. And this is what I love about this community is there's a lot of different communities we can be a part of. All of them wonderful. I do this workout with this online group, and the girl who's the leader is just, I mean, she's so emotional sometimes about what the community means to her, and we're all virtual.
Yeah.
So I love that. I get to exercise and feel the energy of that. It's fun, and that's a big word for me. It gets me out of my head and into my body. And it's good for me. But when you're a part of this community, you have to be authentic.
You do.
Because it's like, I would think it's kind of like being a part of AA.
Yeah.
You can't pull anything over on anybody.
You can't. There just may be a little more ability to hold it gracefully there and let people do it on their own. But yeah, you can't. We know, you know, when you're doing this work.
And
Yeah.
it is work.
Yeah.
It is work.
It's true.
So speaking of work, in the middle of a pandemic with a kindergarten child, you decided to start a business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My Color Street business, is that what we're talking about?
Color Street, yes. And I have to tell what it is first.
Oh, they are dry nail polish strips that go on to your nails, and it's 100% nail polish. And they come in all different kinds of styles and colors, and they only range from $11 to $14. They're fun, Danae. They're fun.
I know. I just sent some to my daughter-in-law, and she loves them. It's a fun gift. It's a fun thing to have, and way less than a manicure. But what I find interesting about the timing of this is any business like this, which is direct sales, really has to do with connecting with community.
Yes.
And you were in quarantine.
I was.
So for a 2 who is so people oriented, how did that set with you in the beginning when you were like, I can't be with the people?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because, honestly, at the beginning of COVID, when we first went into lockdown, I sort of I remember we were planning, we actually ended up having to cancel one of our workshops. So we were taking it quite seriously with the news and really paying attention. And so many of my friends were not at the time. And, oh, this is not going to be a big deal. And I can remember just really reading in it. And then I had to go to a couple doctor's appointments just before. And I actually ended up almost 100% sure that I got COVID. On the week, did you even know that?
What? No.
Week of the lockdown. So the Wednesday, we were supposed to go into the lockdown on Friday, and that Wednesday I started having symptoms present. So I called my doctor, and it was just too early for anything. I couldn't even get tested because there were no tests.
Right.
He ordered me to be on a 2-week lockdown, and I ended up being on 3 weeks of full nothing, not even like going out of my house for 3 weeks. It was very difficult. I couldn't even work in we ended up moving our certification program virtually, half of the group, and my mom and Linda just ran it. I couldn't even show up. I was so sick. But Danae, it's a really interesting, just like I spoke about how my everything broke me down in 2014, how the Enneagram woke me up. And then I woke up with Reiki and adoption, and that whole process. COVID did the same thing again. It was like a reset for my overactive relational thinking. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. And I was actually physically forced to pay attention to myself. And for a 2, we know that is so difficult to do. So I was really forced to pay attention to myself. My husband wasn't feeling great either. Wesley got sick for about 2 days and then he was fine. But I was quite ill, and I'm still dealing with some of the after effects. I have asthma, and it deeply affected me. So
oh my gosh, girl.
Not being able to even, my dad was delivering groceries to us. We couldn't leave the house. Seeing my dad through a window, it was very emotional.
Yes.
Very emotional. And we would talk on the phone, and he would, talk to me for a minute, and Wesley was waving at Papa, and it broke me open again. And I remember crying on the phone, just crying. I was just so broken down, exhausted, emotionally drained. And I remember crying on the phone with my mom and saying, Mom, I am so angry. And this was so surprising to me. I was so deeply grief filled and so angry at my own self for how much I forget my own self.
Mm.
And it has been my work for this year in 2020 is to remember myself. I mean, Danae, I work with the Enneagram every day. I still forget myself in an effort to connect and have relational thinking with others.
Well, it's not ironic. It's the way the universe works. When I asked you to be on this podcast, it's just because I love you as a 2. And I thought, that we probably would more talk about you starting a business and not being able to be in person.
Yeah.
And so, like I told you, I'm just calling this series the COVID Confessions. I had no idea that you had it because your presence online was still going all the time. But that has to be the biggest aha moment for you, and confessional story is that you, in all of your understanding of the Enneagram and yourself, and you forgot to take care of yourself.
I did. I forget every day. That's how deep it is for the 2. I daily forget myself. It takes effort.
Because you're the best at taking care of everybody else. And, I've watched it with my mom, who's a 2, And she's older. So again, us older people, and she's older than me, obviously, are really trying to stay, especially her. She's really hunkering down. No connectivity, hardly at all. And I see her finding a peace in that.
Yeah.
I know it's hard though, because that's your MO, is who needs my help today?
Yes. Yes. And it's so easy to go back there. It's very hard to stay with the lessons that COVID has taught. It's quite easy now that we're opened back up to get back out there and, do my thing, especially with Color Street. I'll tell you, that has good and bad to it, because I mean, while I love it, it's bringing fun and joy into people's lives and connecting me. It's also, again, I have to be really conscious of it, because it's just being over connected and over related social media platform. And we can do that too, not in person.
Right. Yes, I know. When my mom, I keep referring to her,
Yeah.
but several years ago, she was like, no, I'm not going to text it. If you want to talk to me, call me. She loves the conversation, and that's how we're used to connecting. And finally I said, Mom, that's how your grandkids communicate. And so now it's like, oh, now there's group texting and texting all over, because we all need that connectivity, but you need it. So especially in a time like this, that's it. Call your mom, call your relations, whoever they are, or text. But yeah, I know we all need it somehow.
And you know what else was interesting too, Danae, during COVID? I wish I could show you this window I'm looking at. In those first weeks when I was so sick and I was forced to take care of myself, I still found a way to offer myself to the world, even though for 3 weeks I wasn't coming out of my house. I made art with Wesley. Windows, and I still have them up, and I have one that says we are all in this together, and it's a rainbow with a heart. And we have one that Wesley drew, a rainbow, and I still have this piece of art that I made that just simply says hope, and it has a rainbow on it. And I leave it up because so many people have commented on it since then. My neighbors, my friends who've swung by for quick pop-in. I leave that up because that is the way I was able to share my love with the people around me and let people know that they were not forgotten about, even though we were locked down and unable to see each other. That as you walk down this path near my window, I have a little public pathway along my house, and you're not forgotten, and we are all in this together, no matter what.
Oh, we are so connected, even in our differences. And
Yes.
we're in a we're in a world where everybody has an opinion about everything, which we naturally do, but our bodies are so consumed with the anxiety and the separation that we feel, in more than just a physical sense. It's like that distance is visceral, and it's more than, we can't go hang out at the restaurants together or whatever, but we all have that need, unless of course you're a 9. No, I'm kidding.
Maybe so.
What'd you say?
I said maybe so.
No,
Yeah.
I say that because my husband's a 9. One of the podcasts that I've already recorded that'll come out, I think next week, this week, is one of our friends, Emily, who is 9. Yeah. And yeah, some people are like, oh, this is so great. I want to withdraw. But there are those of us that struggle. And that's what I've said many times on the podcast. I know I keep saying it, but for a 7, I found, surprise of all surprise, I kind of liked not having the pressure of a deadline, the pressure of, I say that because I always feel like that's how I operate. I love it. Oh, I love the rushing and getting things done at the last minute. But I found that it is kind of cool to just, not be running on fifth gear all the time. That was my surprise in
Yeah.
this forced period of isolation. That it's okay. I kind of like slowing down.
Yeah.
But I think I knew it was temporary. So it's like, okay, for a season, we can do this.
Yeah, I get that.
Man, I am so, so sorry that you went through that. I'm so grateful for you being open and sharing your story. But let's wind this up by saying where you're headed with Enneagram Atlanta.
Absolutely. Coming up, we've switched all of our workshops virtually, and it's actually surprisingly well. It's working surprisingly well. And we've been doing really deep work. We're utilizing that breakout room tool.
Yeah.
We usually do partner exercises with deep, like repeating questions and things like that, as you do in deep Enneagram work. It actually is working in those rooms, and people are saying for them, for some people, to not have that collective energy of the room when you're usually doing those, that it's actually working even better. So we've moved all of our workshops online, and through the end of this year, and then probably into the first half as well. But yeah, I'm with Enneagram Atlanta. I'm with my mom. We are Enneagram Atlanta, and I do a lot behind the scenes, a lot of admin, and just handling our students. But I am stepping into teaching intro classes for Enneagram Atlanta. I know.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear you say.
I'm doing it, Danae. It takes me a minute to build up the courage to say it out loud. And also our Enne Essentials program, which is combining, and I have my essential oils right here. I have them all smelled while we're here. We've combined essential oils with the Enneagram, and it's pretty cool. And we're introducing that online as well. In addition to the certification class, I can't even believe it. Enneagram applications online.
I know. But you know what? That's what we do as humans. We're resilient. We figure it out. We don't just roll over and, step out of life. And hearing your story, your adoption story, your COVID story, girl, if anybody has a story about seeing how this problem can become the gift. It's hard to say that when you're in the middle of it. But I think you have been such a beautiful example of making time for you and finding your next page.
Thank you, Danae.
Would you like to share any parting words?
Let me think. Yeah, just, you know what I will share? I pulled 2 cards from this adorable little love-powered cards that I share with Wesley every morning. And I pulled out, love is my power, gratitude is my power for you. And me today, but I want to share love is my power, because that is my essential quality as a 2. And this says, I am love, I am compassionate, I am kind, I give love, I receive love, I embody love, I am love. And I can say that to everybody else in the world, but for me to turn this towards myself, Enneagram, I am love.
Oh, I love that. I love you.
You.
I thank you so much for sharing with us today and sharing with the audience. I'll put links to all your socials, all your projects. Actually, one more thing. You mentioned those cards.
Yes. Would you like?
Actually looked that company up. Can you just say what they are again?
They're called Love Powered. Littles. This is the Littles bunch. And guess who got these for us?
Oh, I know who got them. Mama.
You know, Nana did. My mom got these for us. So yeah, I'll provide the link for you, but they are precious to use with your children, and they have them for grown-ups too.
But I love that. This is, yeah, I'm going to put a link to that. I did look them up online, and what a beautiful thing to sit with your child and share these messages with them when there's so much uncertainty. This is a certainty.
Absolutely. It really is. It's been quite a gift for us.
Well, thank you. As I wrap up every show, I hope you get to know the love and joy of who you truly are by loving your own number. Thanks, Jillian.
Thank you, Danae.
Bye.